Madison Golden had been 16 only 2 months when she learned a valuable lesson. She wrecked her car while she was reading a text message someone had sent her. She was not seriously injured in the wreck when her car flipped several times, trapping her upside down. She and her mother are sharing their experience in hopes that someone else will learn from Madison's mistake.
Well, it was homecoming week, and so I went to Boaz to get breakfast, and I was coming back, and my boyfriend was on his way to school, and so I was asking him if he wanted anything while I was in Boaz. And I was texting him, telling him that I was on my way back to school. And I got a message, and I opened it and read it. And when I looked up, I was off on the other side of the road, about to hit a mailbox. And I swerved and hit a driveway, and then went across the road and flipped 2.5 times in the ditch. Well, I landed upside down, and my seatbelt was locked, and so I couldn't get down for a while. And finally, I had to put my car in park and turn it off, and that's when my seatbelt let me undo it. As soon as I got my seatbelt unbuckled, I dug around and found my cell phone and called Mom and told her. I was so much in shock. I couldn't remember where I was coming from. All I could think about was I'm stuck in a car upside down. And I remember when I called her, she didn't know that I was still in the car. She thought that it was, just maybe a fender bender or something like that. And then I told her that I'm stuck in the car and it's upside down and the police were about to break me out. And I just remember her panicking. And I can remember my sister answered the phone, and I was screaming, and she didn't know who I was or what I was talking about. And she had to give the phone to Mom, and as soon as Mom heard me screaming, she knew that I'd had some kind of wreck.
I could hear Madison screaming, and I knew immediately that she'd had a wreck. I mean, like you said, it's the phone call. You just knew in the pit of your stomach that she'd had a wreck. And I could not imagine that it was the kind of wreck that it was. I'm on the phone with her trying to figure out where she is, and I'm going to her. I'm running out the door, going to her, even though I don't really know where she is. And I told my assistant principal that she needed to get a sub, that Madison had had a wreck. And of course, everybody here at school, they saw me running out. And several kids here from school just jumped in their cars, went running out and jumped in their cars and came hunting where she might be. And I finally, I'm talking to her, and, I said, what road were you on when you had the wreck? And I got her calm enough that she could tell me, she said, it's the road we always go on when we're coming back from Boaz. And I said, okay, so I knew where she was. I knew that if I could get on that road, I would see where she had had the wreck. And I just assumed that it was a little fender bender, maybe she'd hit somebody. When I got there, I could not get to her because the traffic was blocked and the fire department and the police had everything blocked off. So I had to park and walk, and I can remember running toward her, and they had gotten her out of the car, and her car was it was terrible. It was upside down, and she was sitting there beside it, and they were checking her to make sure she was okay because they had just gotten her out, and they were kind of checking, I guess her vital signs and everything. And when I ran to her, we just hugged and fell down on the hill. I was so thankful that she was all right. And I should have known something was up because the first thing she did was she went, take this. And she just handed me the phone like, a teenager's most prized possession besides their car is their cell phone. And she just kind of handed it to me and went, take this. Almost like it was a hot potato or something. And I just remember sticking it in my back pocket. I didn't think in a million years. I mean, the last thing that I would have thought was that she was texting and driving. The policeman told me, when he was taking down her information and everything, and he walked up to me and I said, how fast do you think she was going? Because my biggest fear was that she was driving too fast, something that a lot of kids do, a lot of adults do. I thought, well, she's driving too fast when she came around this curve. And so I asked the policeman, I said, can you estimate how fast you think she was going? Because she has told me that she was going about 45 miles per hour. Do you think that she's telling me the truth? And he said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, I've worked a lot of wrecks with teenagers who flip their cars like this. And he said, I have worked very few where kids came out as safe as your daughter. She's very lucky. And I remember telling the policeman, I said, no, she's blessed. And then when my husband got there, he looked at of course he checked on her, and he looked at the car. And my husband, I guess, is so much more practical than I am. And he said, she was texting. And I said, no, Madison wouldn't have done that. I guess I'm one of those parents, And I said, Madison wouldn't have done that, Michael. She knows better than to do something that stupid. And he said, where's her phone? And then it hit me. She handed off that phone the second you know. And he looked in my phone, and looked in her phone, and then he looked at my phone, and we compared the time that she had called me saying that she had had the wreck to the last text message that she had received before the wreck. We realized that 2 minutes before she called me to let me know that she had had the wreck, she had received a text message, and it was looking down to read it.
Since that day, I've never texted while I was driving. If I have to call somebody, I'll stop at a stop sign or pull over somewhere and then dial and call. Or if I have somebody else in the car, I'll let them do it. Most of the time now when I get in the car, I turn my cell phone off and put it in the seat next to me where I can't get to it, or in the floorboard or my purse where I don't even know that it's in the car with me.
As a parent, you think about, it's almost like your heart stops beating because you just don't know. And when you put your children in a car, when they're 5 years old or 10 years old, you can protect them from the world. You can watch over them and you can limit where they go and who they go with. But when you put them in a car, there are all kinds of things that can happen to them. And you think that telling them not to text and drive is going to be enough. And for us, it wasn't enough. And, we feel blessed that she was not hurt badly.
After the wreck happened, just having nightmares about flipping, and just at first I couldn't remember. I just remember seeing the ball box and then see it being upside down. And as the medicine the hospital gave me for my head wore off and I got to thinking about it more, I would have dreams about actually flipping and hearing the scraping across the pavement, and I can remember looking out my front window, being upside down and seeing me sliding across the grass. And then I can remember going up and seeing the air again and going back down and seeing it. And it was definitely the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.